Good morning, everyone. I think it should be noted that it's now 11:30 and we're starting on time. That might be the first time that the county council's ever done that. So anyhow, I'm pleased to be here today. One of the top priorities for the county is creating safe and walkable communities. And yesterday we had a town hall meeting for pedestrian safety and bicycle and traffic safety. It was at Wheaton High School. It was well attended. We had several hundred people there. And the meeting provided residents with an opportunity to give the county council suggestions and to ask questions about from a variety of people. We were very pleased to be joined by the Maryland State Highway Administration. They had people there. Of course, the Montgomery County Department of Transportation, the Police Department, and Park and Planning. The information provided residents to be able to give their suggestions for what we call Vision Zero, which I've never really enjoyed that name, but that's what it's called, as a part of the Department of Transportation. Many issues were raised, including handicap accessibility, sidewalks, senior safety, bicycle safety, engineering, education, and enforcement. We're going to continue to work with their residents and various groups and our transportation experts to find ways to expand their pedestrian safety measures. I also, on Saturday, attended with many of my other colleagues a memorial event for a person that was killed on our streets. There was two on Saturday. I was only able to attend one, but I know my colleagues were at were at both. And the week prior, I was also at a memorial event for a person that was killed as well. Montgomery County is taking this very, very seriously. Our hearts go out to the families and friends and neighbors who have lost loved ones, and we are trying our best so that no one else has to go through this type of tragedy. For the Capital Improvement Program deliberations, last week we had 3 public hearings. We heard from about 100 residents about their priorities for the $4.2 billion capital budget. Committee work on it continues, and it starts today, as a matter of fact, and it's going to continue through the month of February. We heard many suggestions on a variety of topics that we should have more funding for schools, parks, transportation, Montgomery College, pedestrian safety, the Capitol Crescent Trail Tunnel, the second entrance for the White Flint Metro, and libraries, among many others. In fiscal year 2021, the year that we'll be working on coming up next, the recommended capital budget allocates $14 billion for 493 projects, with nearly half of that budget going to school and transportation projects. Our committees will start working this week, and we have a schedule for that. As far as the economic development platform, as you know, the economic development is one of my great priorities for this year. We began in some ways last year, and we had our work has begun with our committee work on the economic development platform itself. We've received a memo from the Education and Culture Committee on their work and how they're going to coordinate with the Planning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee, the Fed Committee. And on Thursday, the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee, of which I'm a member, discussed its work on the development platform plan as well. The GO Committee, the Government Operations Committee, will conduct a review of the Community Engagement Cluster, which includes the Business Hub program, to evaluate ways how to improve business impact. Also, it's going to conduct a comprehensive review of the current development for the impact tax law and exemptions, and if and how the current structure impacts our local economy. Over the next 2 years, that committee will conduct a systematic review of each tax levied and tax credits granted to determine the amount of revenues generated. We need to continue to do this. Montgomery County continues to be the economic engine of Maryland, and our tax revenue and income taxes and job growth continues to be critical for our county and the state's economy. We are committed to removing regulatory burdens that can hamper any of our businesses here. It should be noted that we do realize that our friends and neighbors from neighboring counties are doing very well as well, and that we're keeping them, as I always say, they are a friendly competition, and we're keeping them in mind. We're going to have a resolution for DC statehood tomorrow. Councilmember Evan Glass is going to introduce the resolution in support of DC statehood. I have joined him as a co-sponsor. I believe this is an important effort. I think that when you have 700,000 residents of a community, that they deserve to have a voice in Congress, a voting voice in Congress, and I think this is something that has long been needed. And tomorrow we will actually celebrate Black History Month in Montgomery County. It will start we will have our regular council meeting starting at 9:30. We'll have a special program, a special video devoted to the importance of preserving and honoring the African American community in Montgomery County. The program will focus on 3 areas, historic areas in Montgomery County: Emory Grove in Gaithersburg, Scotland in Potomac, and White Ground in Boyd's. And I encourage everyone to please join us and to celebrate with us. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Would you want to
How
put
are
money
you?
back in the budget? How you doing? Back in the budget for that tunnel for the Capitol Crescent Trail at the Purple Line, and how much would that cost?
First of all, I believe it's around $45 million, I believe was the number. I don't have it in front of me, but I think that's correct. And that's what part of our deliberations will be. I mean, yesterday we heard people who, at the town hall meeting there, that also spoke about the tunnel. And that's what that is the information that we'll be looking at. And of course, part of the concern always is that you have X number of dollars. You have plenty of ways to spend those dollars. What's the way, the most efficient and effective and way to do that? So that's part of our juggling act, and we will begin doing that. Anyone else, please? Yes, sir.
You mentioned some of the recommendations that people had given regarding pedestrian safety, like more access. But any other concerns that caught your attention during the community meetings?
Any other concerns? What?
That you heard or that are worth mentioning, that the community wanted to change in regards to?
There was suggestions for everything you can think of. I mean, the list that I went through, were certainly mentioned many more times than once. But we have just recently, 2 weeks ago, permanently hired Wade Holland, who's the Vision Zero coordinator. I guess that's his official title. I never get official titles right. But he was there as well, and we have begun, and candidly, prior to Wade being here, he was here prior to him being officially appointed. We've begun to work on a variety of ways to solve this. This is a difficult question, and it's a difficult thing to do. And of course, in many ways, you have to retrofit roads that were built many, many years ago and were designed not with the pedestrian in mind. They were designed for traffic, for vehicular traffic. We've got to change that. I mean, we understand, and we've done some. We have these high hawk lights, the high intensity activated crosswalk system, and we put, I believe, 5 in Montgomery County over the last couple of years. State highway, many of our roads are state highway roads where these tragedies have happened. And State Highway is being a partner with us. They realize they were there yesterday with us and have been there prior. I mean, yesterday just being an example. but they realize that this is truly tragedies that could be avoided and should be avoided. And that's what we're working on. And it's many things. They say it's the 3 E's. It's engineering, education, and enforcement. We're going to do all of them. Anyone else, please? Yes, sir.
On the statehood support resolution, can you just talk a little bit about the timing in terms of why the council has decided to do it now?
That you would have to ask Councilmember Glass. He was the one that brought that up. He will to introduce it. I can't answer for him on that, but I think the timing has been that this has been a discussion for many, many years, and so this is something that regardless of whether we brought it up this now or some other group brought it up, it needs to be done. It's only fair. Anyone else?
On the DC statehood question, when you do resolutions, some people have the idea that, well, a resolution doesn't actually do anything. Can you talk to the value of doing a resolution on something like DC statehood?
Well, if the question is, does a resolution, by Montgomery County passing a resolution, if it's going to change the world, it does not. It would be a good thing if it did many times, but it does not. But it certainly brings to the forefront the discussion. It certainly reminds people that it's not being forgotten. And it's certainly letting everyone know that Montgomery County, and of course we haven't voted on the resolution yet, but I'm assuming that it will pass, that Montgomery County is very concerned for our neighbors, our jurisdictional neighbor. And that is something that I believe should have been done. I mean, I had family that lived in the District of Columbia, and before they had the non-voting members of Congress, and it was unbelievable that they had no representation in Congress. Here they're citizens, they're paying taxes, they're doing all the things, they served in the armed services, and that they did not have a representative in Congress doesn't seem remotely fair. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you very much for being with us. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Oh, did you have something? Did somebody else have something?
Just one additional thing.
Oh.
You mentioned that Montgomery County is the economic engine.
Yep.
And then you said, but we also have neighbors. Is that a recognition that Prince George's County now says, hey, we're the economic engine of Maryland?
Well, I don't know that they're actually saying that they're the economic engine. They're saying that they've created more jobs. And of course, if you look at what the number of jobs, and of course, and I'm glad that they're doing well. Don't get me wrong, but I want us to do better, and we will do better. But many of their jobs were because of National Harbor and because of things that Montgomery County supported them on, and so and the jobs that we have created here are certainly higher paying jobs. If you look at the gross domestic product, the GDP, Montgomery County, I think, has 25% of all of Maryland. I mean, we're certainly someone that, and a county that is proud of our economic achievements. But like anything else, just because you have an achievement doesn't mean that you take that for granted. And we are not, and we are changing, and we're concerned about our economics. We've gone on this 4 business tour with the county exec. I have gone on this 4 business tour with the county executive. We are here to say very clearly that we understand that we need to do a better job than what we are doing, and we've heard directly from our businesses, and we're continue to hear from our businesses, and we are working directly with them. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much.